Some tales never die. They hide in the depths of the internet, waiting to be discovered. These are the stories that creep into our minds, twisting reality into something unrecognizable. Among them are creepypasta stories, eerie narratives passed from one reader to the next, growing darker with every retelling. From haunted video games to shadowy creatures that watch from the darkness, these stories push the boundaries of fear and imagination. So tonight, let's delve into terrifying creepypasta stories that have cemented themselves as digital nightmares. Let's begin. Ben Drowned. Ben Drowned, also known as the haunted Majora's Mask cartridge, stands at the center of one of the most notorious creepypasta series. Created by Alex Hall, Ben is a sadistic, seemingly omniscient entity that haunts a corrupted copy of the famous Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask. Little is known of the man he once was, or of his life before death. All that remains is a malevolent spirit that delights in torment. The character of the story, Jeduceable, documented how Ben invaded his game sessions, warping digital landscapes and dreams alike into twisted nightmares. The horror began when player discovered that game saves had become infected with a dark presence. With every boot up and every load, the file whispered of grief and malice. Ben manipulated electronics, occasionally manifesting in the real world long enough to leave evidence of his interference. His influence seeped into Jedusable's surroundings, dreams tainted with grotesque images and gameplay that blurred the lines between the virtual and the real became a daily torment. His tactics were calculated. He was a master manipulator, driving his victim toward madness by twisting their perceptions time and time again. Worse still was his contagious nature. Ben was unsatisfied with remaining confined to a single cartridge. He manipulated thousands into downloading the file harboring his spirit, thus spreading his curse throughout cyberspace. Every corrupted file, every glitch in the game became a portal for his sadistic fun. Gamers reported experiences of hellish nightmares, thus every moment spent in the game became a gamble with one's sanity, the Rake. Next, the Rake is the main antagonist of the creepypasta story of the same name. It is a humanoid creature with large teeth and claws that stalks its victims and appears at the end of their beds as they sleep, or in the woods or in their houses. Over time, eyewitness accounts have painted a consistent picture of this spectral terror, a being that slides through darkness with unnatural silence, a predator that lets its victim's mind crumble with terror before physical harm is ever inflicted. Encounters with the Rake are invariably terrifying. Individuals report waking to find its dreary, elongated form looming at the edge of their vision. Its features, distorted and animalistic, leave an imprint that haunts their waking hours. There is no sudden attack. Instead, Rake's horror is psychological, with every shudder of the night and every inexplicable noise echoing in empty corridors. Victims feel their sanity slowly unravel. The creature's presence ignites a relentless anxiety where even the comfort of sleep is compromised by nightmares that etch its image into the mind. The terror caused by the Rake is intensified by its elusive nature. No clear explanation is offered for its appearance or motivations. It seems to choose its victims arbitrarily, its stalking a silent testimony to the randomness of dread. For those who have experienced its presence, the nightmares persist long after the creature has vanished. The feeling of being watched, of an unseen predator ready to strike during the silence of the night, becomes an inescapable part of everyday life. This ongoing fear often leads to paranoia, making reality indistinguishable from the horror of one's imagination. Candle Cove. And Candle Cove is an unsettling creepypasta in which viewers remember Candle Cove airing on Channel 58 in the early 1970s within the Huntington-Ashland metropolitan area. The show featured a young girl named Janice and her fantastical friendship with marionette pirates. Now, as users reminisced, casual recollections turned into unsettling confessions. They began to recall that the show was not merely odd, but downright horrifying. Among the creepy memories was a character known as the Skin Taker, a skeleton pirate adorned in clothing fashioned from children's skin. Another disturbing recollection involved an episode that consisted entirely of the puppets flailing wildly and shrieking while Janice's cries filled the screen. Gradually, the innocent veneer of a childhood show peeled away to reveal something far more sinister buried beneath layers of static and faded memories. The most chilling twist in the Candle Cove narrative came from a recent recollection. One forum user noted that when he asked his elderly mother, who now resides in a nursing home, whether she remembered Candle Cove, she replied that every time the program was on, there was only static on the screen. For 30 long minutes, they would watch nothing but dead air, a void that suggested the show was never truly there at all. This revelation forced a reconsideration of the memories shared by the forum members. Perhaps what they recalled was not a television program at all, but an eerie hallucination or a shared nightmare. The more the forums debate its existence, the more the lines between reality and imagination blur. Was Candle Cove ever truly broadcast? The unsettling truth remains elusive, locked away in static, and the silent agreement of those who remember its ghostly images. The Expressionless. Moreover, few figures from internet lore evoke as much terror as the Expressionless, a spectral woman whose very presence defies normalcy. Arriving one day in 1972 at Cedars-Sinai Hospital, she was unlike any other patient. Dressed in a bloodied white gown and possessing a mannequin-like visage devoid of natural expression, she exuded a disquieting aura. Although hospitals are no strangers to the sight of the injured and unwell, her appearance, marked by a featureless face and an unnatural composure, immediately distinguished her from those around her. Eventually, medical staff, puzzled by her calm yet eerie presence, soon found themselves in a series of inexplicable events. After being admitted and placed in a room for sedation, she was meticulously cleansed by hospital workers. Yet, as if drawn by an unseen impulse, she performed actions that defied rational explanation. When questioned by the head doctor about her identity, she offered not words, but a smile, a slow, unnervingly deliberate smile that revealed rows of razor-sharp teeth. The moment was charged with a malignant energy, and when the sound of approaching authorities distracted the doctor, the woman seized the opportunity to strike. With unnatural speed, she attacked him, sinking her teeth deep into his neck and severing his jugular before vanishing into the depths of the hospital's shadowy corridors. This singular encounter left an indelible mark on every staff member present and gave rise to stories about a demonic force. Now, decades later, tales of the Expressionless continued to circulate among hospital workers and online horror enthusiasts. Every mention of her sends a shiver down one's spine, a recollection of the time when a nameless woman clad in a bloodied gown transformed a routine day at the hospital into an episode of unspeakable horror. Jeff the Killer. Next, Jeff the Killer is an indelible figure in Creepypasta world, a teenage embodiment of bloodlust and sheer, unbridled madness. His story began in the dark corridors of high school, where a weird feeling crept into his mind. This precursory sense of violence soon transformed into an insatiable urge for bloodshed. The catalyst came on a day when, in a horrifying act of bullying, one of his tormentors set his face on fire. The incident left his features horribly scarred, and Jeff developed an unsettling fondness for his disfigured appearance. His deformed appearance, marked permanently by charred skin and a contorted smile, hinted at his descent into madness. Thus the smile he now bears is more than a permanent expression. It is a symbol of his sadistic nature and his unquenchable bloodlust. His every act of brutality is executed with meticulous cruelty, and his reputation grows with each new victim. Over time, the tales surrounding Jeff the Killer spread like wildfire across online horror communities. Forum users and storytellers exchanged chilling accounts of encounters with this shadowy figure who stalks the night, often lurking in the fringes of suburban streets as well as in the dark recesses of internet chat rooms. Jeff leaves behind a trail of terror that is impossible to ignore. SCP Foundation. Now, the next creepypasta story, SCP Foundation, included a collaborative writing project that has captured the imagination of horror enthusiasts worldwide. Started as an organization devoted to containing and studying anomalous phenomena, the Foundation operates in secrecy, its existence shrouded in layers of censored documents and cryptic reports. At its core, the SCP Foundation is dedicated to exploring, understanding, and ultimately containing anomalies that could pose a threat to humanity. Every entry in the SCP database is meticulously documented with containment procedures, descriptions, and often a disturbing backstory. Whether it is a sentient object, a creature with supernatural abilities, or a mysterious phenomenon-defying explanation, each SCP is treated as both an enigma and a potential menace. The Foundation's rigor in experimentation and research is unparalleled, with security clearances and classifications ensuring that only those with the highest expertise have access to the most dangerous artifacts. The narrative of the SCP Foundation is told through thousands of individual stories written by a global community of contributors. These tales reveal terrifying scenarios, studies of creatures that can warp reality with a mere glance, artifacts that bend time, and phenomena that defy the laws of physics. So each SCP is a puzzle piece in a larger picture of a world where the boundaries between the mundane and the monstrous have all but vanished. Akinator's Curse. Next we have Akinator's Curse that weaves modern gaming with ancient fear. The popular online game Akinator, renowned for its uncanny ability to guess a user's character from a few simple questions, slowly transformed into something far more disturbing. Users worldwide began reporting that the genie-like figure within the game seemed to know personal secrets and innermost fears with unnerving accuracy. At first, these revelations were dismissed as the game's clever programming, but as the uncanny predictions persisted, a terrifying notion emerged: Akinator might be possessed by a sinister force. Players recounted how during routine sessions Akinator would inexplicably veer from harmless guesses to uncover painful, hidden details about their past. Details no ordinary algorithm should know. Also, the game's questions became invasive, probing topics of fear and trauma. Thus, what once was fun gradually turned into an eerie confrontation with an entity that seemed to look into the soul. And in the dim glow of computer screens late at night, users found themselves questioning whether the digital genie was simply following its script or if it belonged to something far more malevolent. As word spread, online forums buzzed with theories about the nature of Akinator's curse. Some speculated that the game had tapped into a supernatural network. Others believed that the curse was not about data at all, but was instead the manifestation of a deep, collective fear, a spectre born from the convergence of modern technology and human vulnerability. However, for many players, the initial thrill of the guessing game was now replaced by a constant sense of unease, a fear that each session might reveal something too personal or lead to a chain of inexplicable events. Room 733. Finally, Room 733, a creepypasta story penned by C.K. Walker, takes us into the haunting world of college dormitories where the paranormal lurks. Two young women fresh to college life were assigned the room 734, right next to the infamous room 733, the so-called suicide room. From the moment they settled in, the roommates sensed a haunting atmosphere surrounding room 733. Odd sounds echoed through the corridor at night, and an inexplicable chill pervaded the area. As days turned into weeks, both women began noticing strange phenomena. The persistent sense of dread became impossible to ignore, prompting them to file formal complaints with the authorities. However, no intervention came, and the terror escalated. One of the young women eventually died by falling from the window, leaving behind only unanswered questions and a lingering silence that seemed to seep from the very cracks of room 733. The surviving roommate soon witnessed the unthinkable. While glancing toward her closet, she noticed its door had cracked open, a narrow gap through which the defined lines of a long, sinister face looked back at her. The sight was so horrifying that she was unable to shake the feeling of being watched. Eventually that night, the surviving roommate left the room, vowing never to return. Which creepypasta intrigued you the most? Have you ever authored one? Do tell in the comments. And if you fancied this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more spooky content.